was a table, and I could audibly hear talks about nuclear war starting, and it had to do with the USA. I had the knowing that it was going to be war all over the world. I knew it was going to be World War III as well. But at first, something happened to the nation, something happened to America. It was either a natural disaster or something big, in a false flag attack where there were a lot of people that were dead and a lot of people that were injured. There was a civil war, a revolution type thing going on. The nation was in chaos, and America was already weak at that point. Then I saw a world map on the table where I saw the USA, Russia, and China. And as I'm hearing all the talks in the background coming from different cities in America, I have the sense that the East Coast and the West Coast were attacked. I remember doing my own map, circling on a piece of paper very strong around the word USA. And right next to it, I wrote the word USSR. I did not write Russia, I wrote USSR, and I circled it very strongly. And I circled both of them to indicate that Russia was invading America by nuclear war. And it was like everywhere there was chaos, rioting, people crying, screaming, weeping. Government agencies were on high alert, ambulances, sirens, alarms. There was darkness outside. There was lots of disaster. It just invasions all over America. There was plundering everywhere. Like I mentioned, there was darkness outside. I don't know if it was because of an EMP or obviously from all the nuclear attacks. Just a lot of commotion and confusion. And I also had the sense of martial law. Russia had attacked first, and missiles were launched from Russia, and then China attacked. I had a knowing that both countries were in on it. In China, there were missiles already set up, and they were being launched from there. There were so many missiles that they were coming towards the USA. There were just too many to count. I started to draw on my piece of paper where the missiles were coming from and what direction they were being launched from. So I started to draw lines to represent the missiles coming to the USA. And I also had a knowing that there was something else. There was a secret area where they had missiles and bombs, and it was like a stealth operation.
And there were soldiers. They were paratrooping, parachuting onto the streets. They were running around everywhere. It seems like the whole place had been invaded. And like I said, I couldn't tell you what the uniforms were for some reason. I couldn't even tell you the nationality of the foreign troops that invaded. But for some reason, in my heart, I believed it was like Chinese and Russian troops.
Citizens, the wicked, they didn't touch the wicked. They left them in the streets, and these individuals was watching. They began to go after Christians. And so they were coming up to the people asking them, are you a Christian? Are you a Christian? And if you said yes, or if you stood there and you didn't deny it, then they would round them up and make them get in the Humvee. Or some of them, when I heard this, I remember I started running, and I ran into this house. And when I went into this house, with a couple of other people, and I was telling the individuals in the house to lock the doors and pull the curtains down, and I was telling them that China was outside and that they were coming for the Christians.
I saw the entire earth. I saw all the countries. Every country had its name on it. And I saw France, I saw Germany, I saw Russia, I saw Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, I saw South Korea, North Korea, I saw, New Zealand, and I saw all these continents and all these countries, and I saw every one of them. And then he heard another voice, and it said, Dustin, look. So I looked, and when I looked this time, I saw was missiles from the United States, which I was standing above. I was standing above the United States. I think that might have been because I was representing the United States of America. But I noticed how there was missiles going off. We were launching missiles. We hit China. We hit South Korea, on the border, like around North Korea and South Korea. We hit Russia, and it was just, and they were sending missiles back. And just before, while their missiles were coming in and our missiles were going out, I woke up just as Russia just exploded. Now, I didn't see, blood, and I didn't see people running, and I didn't see people screaming.
We looked at the world map, and because there was a noise, and we looked, and there was a nuclear explosion over Korea, North and South Korea. But in what the Lord is talking to me about now, this war that's going to happen now, this World War III that's coming any day, or I don't know, very soon, it's involving Russia, Israel, Iran, United States. Basically like a World War III. I know there's the war Gog and Magog. Maybe this is what the Lord is showing me. I don't know.
But he was talking about words of judgment. This much I know. And he was showing me everything that would take place in New York. And he started to show me through from this high rise a nuclear war attack coming onto New York, and missiles were raining upon New York. And I could see in slow motion, I could see each building pulverized as it was coming down. People had no time to run. People had no time to escape. This came suddenly in an hour, as he tells us in Revelation 18. It came suddenly, folks. And it was so devastating and so much. It was the entire city was being destroyed, utterly destroyed. I saw the Brooklyn Bridge, which is a bridge made out of steel. It snapped in like twigs in 4 pieces, and it fell to the water. Like twigs, it just snapped. The violence of this attack was so strong, and the amount of missiles that were coming down was so severe, and everything was being pulverized before my eyes. And it was given on 2018, January 11th, 2018. And it began with me seeing several explosions. I could see several explosions to buildings. They were either coming from Russia or something that Russia caused to the USA. So it was something that had to do with the Russia had done to the USA. And the explosions were very, very significant, very severe. I could see them just blowing up, boom, just blowing up structure after structure and buildings, much destruction. And so I don't know what they used, if it was missiles but definitely bombs were going off.
Up and see all the different floors of the mall. Seemed to be 3 or 4 stories tall. And all of a sudden, everyone's cell phone began to sound an alert, like you would hear an Amber Alert or some emergency alert on your phone. So everyone's cell phone started chiming, and I had my cell phone in my hand, and immediately I began reading the alert. And I was shouting it out throughout the mall as the alert came up. And what the alert read was, NATO forces make first strike against its own allies and blames Russia. World War III has begun. Now, as I am shouting this message, the message begins to change on my phone. And it changed to read, Russian forces make first strike against NATO forces. World War III has begun. Now, I knew